परमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text number 20. Kritavan kila karmani Kritavan kila karmani Saha Ramena Keshavaha Saha Ramena Keshavaha Atimartyani Bhagavan Atimartyani Bhagavan Gudaha Kapata Manushaha Guda Kapata Manushaha Kritavan Kila Karmani Saharamena Keshava Atimartyani Bhagavan Guda Kapata Manushaha Kritavan Kila Karmani Saharamena Keshavaha Atimartyani Bhagavan Guda Kapata Manushaha Kritavan Kila Karmani Saharamena Keshava Atimartyani Bhagavan Guda Kapata Manushaha Kritavan Kila Karmani Saharamena Keshava Atimartyani Bhagavan Guda Kapata Manushaha Kritavan Kila Karmani Saharamena Keshavaha Atimartyani Bhagavan Guda Kapata Manushaha Kritavan Kila Karmani Saharamena Keshavaha Atimartyani Bhagavan Guda Kapata Manushaha Kritavan Kila Karmani Saharamena Keshavaha Atimartyani Bhagavan Guda Kapata Manushaha. Word to word meaning. Kritavan, done by. Kila, what? Karmani, acts. Saha, along with. Ramena, Balarama. Keshava, Shri Krishna. Atimartyani, superhuman. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Gudaha, masked as. Kapata, apparently. Manushaha, human being. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Lord Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, along with Balarama, played like a human being, and so masked, he performed many superhuman acts. Translation with repetitions. Lord Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, along with Balarama, played like a human being, and so masked, he performed many superhuman acts. purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. The doctrines of anthropomorphism and zoomorphism are never applicable to Sri Krishna or the personality of Godhead. The theory that a man becomes God by dint of penance and austerities is very much rampant nowadays, especially in India. Since Lord Rama, Lord Krishna, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were detected by the sages and saints to be the personality of Godhead, as indicated in revealed scriptures, many unscrupulous men have created their own incarnations. This process of concocting an incarnation of God has become an ordinary business, especially in Bengal. Any popular personality with a few traits of mystic powers will display some feat of jugglery and easily become an incarnation of Godhead by popular vote. Lord Sri Krishna was not that type of incarnation. He was actually the personality of Godhead from the very beginning of his appearance. He appeared before his so called mother as four armed Vishnu. Then, at the request of the mother, he became like a human child and at once left her for another devotee at Gokula, where he was accepted as a son of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mata. Similarly, Sri Baladeva, the counterpart of Lord Sri Krishna, was also considered a human child born of another wife of Sri Vasudeva. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that his birth and deeds are transcendental, and that anyone who is so fortunate as to know the transcendental nature of his birth and deeds will at once become liberated and eligible to return to the kingdom of God. So, knowledge of the transcendental nature of the birth and deeds of Lord Sri Krishna is sufficient for liberation. In the Bhagavatam, the transcendental nature of the Lord is described in 9 cantos, and in the 10th canto, his specific pastimes are taken up. All this becomes known as one's reading of this literature progresses. It is important to note here, however, that the Lord exhibited his divinity even from the lap of his mother, that his deeds are all superhuman. He lifted Govardhan hill at the age of 7, and that all these acts definitely prove him to be actually the supreme personality of Godhead. Yet, due to his mystic covering, he was always accepted as an ordinary human child by his so called father and mother and other relatives. Whenever some Herculean task was performed by him, the father and mother took it otherwise, and they remained satisfied with unflinching parental love for their son. As such, the sages of Naimisharanya describe him as apparently resembling a human being, but actually he is the supreme almighty personality of Godhead. Thus ends the Transcendental Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prasharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today is the auspicious divine appearance day of Lord Balarama. So today celebrations happen all over the ISKCON temples, especially where the deities of Krishna Balarama are there. Abhishekam, Pallaki Utsav, and many other grand festivities take place. And this is a very important occasion, and this is happening just before the Krishna Janmashtami festival. So it's even more special as it allows us to prepare for Sri Krishna Janmashtami. Today we will briefly look into some of the aspects and of who Lord Balarama is, some of his activities, and importance of Balarama, and why we need to worship Lord Balarama. So, firstly, it is in this verse, so this is in the very first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, that is this description, the sages are asking different questions. Sages of Naimisharanya, headed by Shaunaka Rishi, are asking various questions to Suta Goswami. And in that process, they are also talking about Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, along with Balarama, played like a human being. And so masked, he performed many superhuman acts. So very immediately after this, they also ask, like, what are the activities that are performed by the various incarnations of the Lord. So the sages of Naimisharanya were very much aware about the position of the Lord, and they wanted to know more about the Lord. So this is, as we have been hearing in the last few days, the importance of eagerness to hear about the Lord is a very important characteristic for a devotee to advance further. So here it is being said that Lord Krishna and Balarama, they played exactly like a human being. So it is very difficult for general population to understand who is an incarnation of the Lord. It is not possible for someone, because they are looking exactly played like a human being. They are not human being, they played like a human being. So apparently their activities, their appearance is looking like human being, but they are not actually human being. So how do we understand an incarnation of the Lord? How can one know who is an incarnation of the Lord? In this regard, actually, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while instructing Sanatana Goswami, he instructs about the various incarnations of the Lord. And when he is describing these various incarnations of the Lord, Sanatana Goswami asks, so that the general population can understand. So he asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that, how do I understand that someone is an incarnation of the Lord? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that one cannot accept someone as an incarnation of the Lord simply by popular votes. Simply because large number of people are following, one is not to be considered an incarnation. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that one has to use the authoritative revealed scriptures as the reference to identify who is an incarnation of the Lord. In fact, in teachings of Lord Chaitanya, there are 3 chapters on the various incarnations of the Lord. And there it is a lot of description about the technicalities of how Lord Krishna expands into many various expansions, and how they are classified and how they are to be understood. So there is great amount of detail that is being given in the scriptures so as to help us understand who is an incarnation of the Lord. And in that regard, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also says, who is an avatara? An incarnation of the Lord, avatara, the word means one who descends. So it is an incarnation. The Lord, when he descends to this material world, is said to be an incarnation or avatara. Now, the Lord expands in many various forms, and each of them have 2 kinds of characteristics. One, the primary characteristics, and the other is the marginal characteristics. So the primary characteristics are of his form and the activities. Some of them are considered to be the marginal aspects or characteristics of the Lord, or the incarnation of the Lord. So the revealed scriptures talk about these various primary and the marginal aspects, characteristics of the incarnation of the Lord. So it is based on these understanding of the primary and the marginal characteristics that one should understand who is an incarnation of the Lord. So in this regard, we will see that there are various descriptions which are given in the scriptures so as to help us understand who is an incarnation and what are the characteristics. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the very first Adi Leela, there is description about the glories of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. In that context, there is description of the glories and who is Lord Balarama. And there it is said, Sarva Avatari Krishna Swayam Bhagavan Tanahara Dvitiya Deha Sri Balarama. So here, who is Lord Balarama is being described. So first here it is being said, Sarva Avatari. So Avatara and Avatari. So Avatari is the source of all incarnations. So who is the source of all incarnations? here it is being said all incarnations, not just one or two incarnations. So sometimes people confuse whether Vishnu, Krishna is an incarnation of Vishnu or so on and so forth. But here, Sarva Avatari, the source of all incarnations, is Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. So the Lord Krishna personally, he is actually the source of all incarnations. And therefore, Prabhupada writes in the translation here that the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is the fountainhead of all incarnations. Fountainhead means the source. He is the source of all incarnations. There should be no doubt. But then the question comes, who is Balarama? That is being described here. Tanahara Dvitiya Deha Sri Balarama. So Lord Balarama, he is his second body. So Lord Krishna expands himself, and his second body is Tanhara Dvitiya Deha. The second body is Lord Balarama. So it is being described, it's Lord Krishna, the same identity, but he is expanding himself into his another form. Now, what is important here also to note is that the Lord Krishna expands in various different expansions. So the expansions which have unlimited potency, they are called Shvamsa. And the forms that have limited potencies are called Vibhinnamsha. Actually, there is a lot of technical description about the different incarnations, their classifications of how there are Prakasha form, the Vaibhava form, the Vilasa forms, and how there are different kinds of Shaktiyavesha, Manvantara avataras, Yuga avataras, Leela avataras. So it is very in a detailed way described by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatana Goswami in the Madhya Leela. But it is important for us to note that the Lord expands in primarily two categories, the Shvamsa and Vibhinnamsha. Vibhinnamsha means the potency is not as, the potencies are limited, whereas in case of Shvamsa, the potencies are unlimited. And then it is said here that Ekahi Swarupa Donhe Bhinna Matra Kaya Adya Kaya Vyuha Krishna Leelara Sahaya. So here it is being said they are both one and the same identity. Ekahi Swarupa. Their identity is one of both Krishna and Balarama. They are not different, they are same. But what is the difference? The difference is in the form, in the appearance. Krishna appears dark, whereas Balarama appears fair. The dress, Balarama wears blue colored, Krishna wears yellow colored. So the difference is in their appearance and the way they dress. But in terms of the potency, there is no difference. In terms of the identity, there is no difference. Adya Kaya Vyuha. So they only differ in form. He is the first bodily expansion of Krishna. So Balarama is the first bodily expansion of Krishna. But what is the special role of Balarama then? If they are same in identity, just different in bodily complexion and the way they dress, what is so unique about Balarama? So that is being said here, Krishna Leelara Sahaya. So the very unique thing about Lord Balarama is that he assists in Lord Krishna's pastimes. So Balarama is a Swamsha expansion of the Lord, and therefore there is no difference in potency between Krishna and Balarama. The only difference is in the bodily structure. As the first expansion of Godhead, Balarama is the chief deity among the first quadruple forms and is the foremost assistant of Sri Krishna in his transcendental activities. So this is very important to recognize that the identity is non-different. The only difference is in the bodily form and the way the Lord Balarama dresses, and he assists in the transcendental pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna. And just like during the first day of Julan Utsav, one of the devotee came and said, I thought I will see Balarama. Where is Balarama? So actually, that is also being said here. Say Krishna Navadvipe Sri Chaitanya Chandra. Say Balarama Sange Sri Nityananda. So sometimes people think, where is Balarama? So here it is being said, that original Lord Krishna appeared in Navadvipa as Lord Chaitanya, and Balarama appeared with him as Lord Nityananda. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is non-different from Krishna, and Nityananda Prabhu is not different from Balarama. So Balarama is here, that means Nityananda Prabhu is here, that means Lord Balarama is also here. So this is a very uh, quick description in the beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita about who Lord Balarama is. The Lord Balarama further expands into the four quadruple expansions of Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and then there is Narayana, and then second quadruple expansions, and from them the different expansions of Shirodaksha, Karanadaksha Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Shirodaksha Vishnu, and the cosmic manifestation. So actually, Lord Balarama, he expands himself so as to maintain the entire cosmic manifestation. It is by his spiritual potency that this entire cosmic manifestation, and in fact even the spiritual planets, are maintained. And therefore, he is of extreme strength, Bala. His strength, his potency is extraordinary. And it is also mentioned that in Laghu Bhagavatamrita by Srila Rupa Goswami, that how Krishna assists, Balarama assists Krishna in his various ways in Lord's pastimes. And that is also described, that how Balarama takes sometimes as his brother, sometimes as servant, sometimes as parent, and sometimes as a friend, and by offering everything. So in various ways, it is said that Balarama assists Lord Krishna in his various transcendental pastimes. So then another very important aspect of why we should worship Lord Balarama, as we heard yesterday also. So this important verse, Nayam Atma pravachanena labhyo na medhaya na bahuna shrutena yam evasha vrinute tena labhyas tasyesa atma vivrudate tanum swam. So here from this verse from Mundaka Upanishad says, Nayam Atma pravachanena labhyo. So it is said that sometimes people think that if one has physical strength or bala, one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or one can make spiritual advancement. No, spiritual advancement is not possible by any amount of physical strength. And neither one can simply advance in understanding the Supreme Absolute Truth simply by the study of Vedas. Na bahuna shrutena. One may study so many literatures, but one cannot understand who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The relationship, our relationship with the Supreme Lord, cannot be understood by any of these processes. Prabhupada says there are many Mayavadi sannyasis fully engaged in studying the Vedas, Vedanta Sutra, and Upanishads, but unfortunately, they cannot grasp the real essence of knowledge. In other words, they do not know the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, one may question then, what is the use? I mean, you are engaging in all these endeavors, but you are not knowing the most essential things. So, what is the benefit? So, what is the way by which one can actually understand the essence of the Vedic literature? Just like in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the very beginning, the description starts as who is the knower of the Vedas? And Lord Krishna explains, the Vedesha sarver aham eva vedya. So, if one does not understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then his study, his all endeavors is not considered any complete. But if the people who are engaged so much in study, fully dedicating the Mayavadi sannyasis, if they are not able to understand by studying, then how are we supposed to understand? So here, without the mercy of Lord Balarama, one cannot understand the spiritual truths. Therefore, mercy of Balarama is quintessential. It is foremost and important for us to actually make advancement, to get spiritual strength. So sometimes we wonder, we don't have spiritual strength, what do? We should offer praise to Lord Balarama. We should ask. And Prabhupada actually explains how do we get this? Prabhupada says that actually sincerely rendering service, Prabhupada writes, sincerely rendering service is the method to receive the mercy of the Lord. So, unless one does not sincerely render service, unless one does not offer sincere prayers, then one is not getting qualified, or one is not able to receive the mercy that is being offered by Lord Balarama. And especially Lord Nityananda Prabhu is so merciful, is so merciful. As we see in the case of Jagai Madai, although he was hit by the earthen pot, the broken pieces of earthen pot, still he wanted them to be delivered. Similarly, Lord Balarama wants to give us spiritual strength. But it is that we are not receiving. And the way to receive, as Prabhupada says, is by sincerely rendering devotional service. So we should all become very sincere. Then we become recipient of the mercy of Lord Balarama. And especially Lord Nityananda Prabhu is very, very merciful. He is asking for only one quality. He is distributing the holy name to everyone, but he is asking for just one quality, and that is faith. A little faith that we should have, that this is the right process. What is being said, we should do it. And what is being told not to be done, we should avoid that to be done. If this much faith in the instructions of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, if we can take Shraddhavan jana hai, Shraddhavan jana hai, just little faith if we have in the words of the spiritual master, because spiritual master is a representative of Lord Balarama and Lord Nityananda. So Lord Balarama is actually the original spiritual master, he is the first spiritual master who is actually instructing about Lord Krishna, who is engaging us in the service of the Lord. So we must understand that not by simply following some religious rituals or some other means or just random study, one can acquire the highest transcendental knowledge. No, that is not possible. The only means is by acquiring the mercy of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. And that means because Srila Prabhupada is a representative of Lord Balarama, so we have to execute the instructions of Srila Prabhupada. We have to sincerely serve Prabhupada. Then it is through the mercy of the spiritual master we receive the mercy of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Lord Balarama. And when we receive, then we become spiritually strong. Then we further progress from beginning stages of Ado Shraddha, Bhajana Kriya. From there we will go further towards Nishtha. We will become steady in our devotional life. Because in the beginning stages we are not steady, we are fluctuating. One day we do something well, one day we cannot do something well. But in order to progress, we need to overcome the other stages. As we were saying, one of the stages, Anartha Nivritti. And Lord Balarama helps us. But sincerity is a very important quality. We should not cheat. Because the only reason is when, as Prabhu also gives example, that you cannot wake up a person who is willingly closing his eyes. He is awake but he is closing his eyes. Then how can you wake him? You cannot wake him. So similarly, if we are not cheating, that means if we are sincerely trying to follow the instructions given by the spiritual master to the best of our abilities, then we immediately become recipient of the mercy of the spiritual master. And that mercy enables us to have more spiritual strength. If we are not progressing in our devotional life, that means we must recognize that there are so many anarthas, there are so many unwanted things in our life. And sometimes it is very difficult on our strength to overcome that. But in the association of devotees, by strictly following the instructions to the best of abilities, one must push one's engagement in various services. Because the festivals are especially wonderful opportunities that Srila Prabhupada has created. Every month there is some festivity or the other. It's a great opportunity for us to further advance by sacrificing a little more, by becoming a little more eager to do more services. And it is by doing these services that we actually become more recipient. Sometimes people think, only by just coming to the festival at some point of time, or just taking darshan or just quick prayer. No, service is the demonstration of how eager we are in progressing in devotional service. And once we start doing service, we should also eventually look into the quality of the service. Is the service done in the mode of passion, in the mode of ignorance, in the mode of goodness? Am I doing it so that others are not troubled? Am I doing it in a way which is actually pleasing to Guru and Gauranga, to the Vaishnavas? Or is it being done for the sake of being done? Am I taking extra endeavors to render service? Because all this attention that we are paying to do the service is very important. And Prabhupada mentions one of the qualities. What is the quality of a surrender? Surrender means, Prabhupada says, that whatever service that is coming, am I doing as if the Lord has given me the service, as if the spiritual master has given me the service. And then with all details, with great attention, if one is doing, that is a sign of surrender. So these are the practical ways by which we can actually obtain the mercy of the spiritual master and the Lord. Otherwise, our spiritual strength doesn't seem to grow. So these festivals are great opportunities for all of us to increase our commitment to devotional service and sincerity of devotional service. Not for namesake, not to pass the buck. Okay, this is your responsibility. No, this is your responsibility. Not like that. Devotional service means one should own up. Why? Because it is for our own benefit. The Lord is self-satisfied. He does not need anything. He is not in want of anything. But it's for our own benefit that the Lord and the spiritual master, the devotees, are giving us an opportunity to do devotional service. It is not that something big has to be done, because the Lord wants the biggest thing for us is our own purification. So if we do not utilize that opportunity, and if we somewhere or other find some intelligent means, and it is said, of all the cheaters, I am the cheater. Krishna says, no one can cheat him. He knows our heart. He knows our intent. He knows to what degree did we put our best endeavors. So we cannot cheat the Lord. So if we cheat, then we will not see spiritual strength. But if we do it sincerely, then we will see so much of spiritual strength. Without Krishna's strength, one cannot spread Krishna's glories. Without being bestowed by spiritual power and potency, one cannot become effective in preaching the glories of the Lord. Even in rendering services, when one is bestowed a lot of blessings by the spiritual master, one becomes very spiritually strong. Apparently it looks like one is doing so many different services. It is actually the mercy of the spiritual master, Lord Balarama, by whose strength one seems to act very wonderfully. So we should all aspire to become a good recipient of the mercy of Lord Balarama and the spiritual master. Only by that we will actually develop our spiritual strength, by not other means. And practically we have to learn how to develop. Practically we have to judge our services. Practically we have to judge our intent, our endeavors. Are they really to the best of the extent? Are they really the way it is pleasing Guru and Gauranga? Because unless we don't make this analysis, we will be doing the same things again and again. We'll be going in the same loop again and again. And one of the best ways is actually to get feedback from the Vaishnavas. Being open to the feedback of Vaishnavas is a very important quality, because it is out of their mercy that the Vaishnavas, the devotees, they give us instructions, they give us feedback. And that helps us to prevent unwanted things that we might be committing. Sometimes it may look, why is this devotee so harsh? Why is this devotee so strong? But if we introspect, actually, if we take it as a blessing, actually that is a way for us to stop something that we are going to do next. So it is actually a blessing. But when something unfavorable comes, then we become very agitated, we become very disturbed, we think that is not spiritual. No. In an advanced state, a devotee sees everything as the mercy of the Lord. A reversal, even more mercy of the Lord. The so-called reversal is not the reversal, but this is the loving reciprocation of the Lord and the spiritual master. So sometimes it comes in different ways. Sometimes someone may criticize, someone may say something, someone may be apparently be harsh. But one of the qualities of a Vaishnava is to take the essence of it. What is that I can learn from it? What is that I can learn from it? Apparently it may look something not pleasing, not right, but maybe there is something for me to learn from it. As soon as one develops this attitude, then one becomes a recipient of the mercy. It is by the blessings, it is by the mercy of Vaishnavas, Guru, that we acquire spiritual strength. On our own, we don't have any strength. If there is no association, where is the strength? If we are alone, how do we practice? And we must recognize the importance of each devotee, as how everyone is doing so much so that this entire system is functioning so smoothly. Someone is cleaning, someone is cooking, someone is doing deity worship. So all these different aspects we must recognize. We must see the mercy of the spiritual master in our every day, every act, of how the beautiful darshan is arranged, how someone is cleaning the temple, how someone is making prasadam, the bhoga, someone is offering, making prasadam. So this appreciation must be there. If this appreciation is not there, the faults look predominantly visible. Wherever there is no appreciation, there is fault finding. As soon as there is fault finding, we lose the opportunity to get mercy. Unless one is not in an authorized position, one should not unnecessarily find faults. One should rather, in a submissive, in a humble way, can suggest few things, but not in a mood of fault finding. But in a mood of service, one may request, one may ask, can this be done? Should this be done? And rather, if one sees something is missing, one must become a servant and see, can I assist there? Not that push aside someone. So unless we don't learn practically how to advance in our devotional service, we will not learn how to acquire mercy of Guru and Gauranga and Lord Balarama. So we have to develop our broader vision when we do service. What am I doing for? How am I doing? How much I am looking outwardly as what this service is. But the Lord inside the heart is saying, in what mood, in what sincerity are you doing? In what endeavors are you putting? So all these things have to be very carefully seen. Otherwise, the mercy manifestation of the Lord in the form of the spiritual master and Lord Balarama will not be able to get, because a Kanishtadhikari sees the Lord only in the temple, but a Madhyamadhikari sees the Lord not only in the temple, but he also knows how the Lord is present in everyone's heart. He is present everywhere, and he knows how to deal with Vaishnavas, how to deal with who are not Vaishnavas, who are atheists. He knows how to give due respect to everyone. So we have to broaden our understanding, we have to broaden our understanding and the way we do services. Then we will make further progress. Then we become recipients of more mercy. And we must be eager to overcome anarthas, because our unwanted habits from the past and something that we are developing even now, they have to be broken down, because they are those which are preventing us from further progress. So today is a wonderful occasion where we should offer prayers to the Lord to give us strength to overcome our anarthas, and we must be willing when the Lord is giving an opportunity in the form of someone criticizing, someone chastising, someone correcting us. We must be very much willing. because it is through that we are actually receiving the mercy of the spiritual master and the Lord. It is not that we think in some air the mercy is coming, some abstract way the mercy is coming. No. And as we know how Kunti Maharani was saying, Vipada Santu Tasashvat. So she is saying, all these obstacles are so good that I am able to see you. And if I see you, then there is no need to see this repeated cycle of birth and death. So one should stick to devotional service. One must carry the same mood in both reverses and positives. One should not be too much worried about, I'm feeling good about this, so I will do it. I'm not feeling good, so I will not do. No. The mercy is coming. We have to just do our duty. Simply by doing our sincere duty that is allocated to us, we get mercy. Then that mercy will enable us to overcome our weaknesses and give us the strength that is necessary for us to further progress. Just briefly, I'll touch upon very quickly the appearance of Lord Balarama, or maybe the two pastimes of Lord killing Dhenukasura and Pralambasura. So, as the important thing in both of these pastime is the extraordinary, as we say in this verse, that Atimartyani, the acts of both Krishna and Balarama are superhuman. They are not ordinary. So, just in case of the ass demon Dhenukasura, as Lord Krishna and Balarama and his friends, they wanted to go and to the forest of Talavan, where there were many palm trees and fruits. So they wanted to go and taste them. So all the friends go. But usually they were all afraid of going there because of this demon called Dhenukasura. But the friends of Lord Krishna and Balarama, they said, Krishna and Balarama, let's go there. There are so many fruits. Can't you smell them? Let's go and have some of them. So when requested like this by the other cowherd boys, the Krishna and Balarama both obliged, and they went there. And as soon as they went there, they saw actually Balarama was like jerking all the trees and all the fruits were falling down. And